next episode here in our WWE 2K16 Universe Mode series. Now, I will say there's no Universe Mode footage in this video. This is just going to be a championship tournament to crown our first Intercontinental Champion for the Retro roster. As we have a quick look at the brackets we've got set here for you this evening, it's going to be the British Bulldog taking on the Honky Tonk Man. The Ultimate Warrior takes on Jake Roberts. Rick Rude takes on Randy Savage. And Owen Hart takes on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So without further ado, let's get straight into our first of the first round matches. And as I said, our first match of the first round will be the British Bulldog taking on the Honky Tonk Man. And here we go. This is going to be an interesting one, this, because I've not used either of these guys this year, so it's going to be great to see how they act in the ring. Of course, the British Bulldog is somebody that I really want to push a little bit more this year. Of course, being British myself, I do have a lot of respect for the legend that is the British Bulldog. And I think at some point we'll have to have him involved in a championship tournament at some point. Maybe let's have him part of a championship match, maybe trying to recreate the SummerSlam match of years ago where he faced off against, I believe it was Bret Hart for the WWE, it was the Intercontinental Championship, something along those lines. So maybe we can do something along that sort of playing field. But of course, also Bulldog in this universe mode is going to be part of the Hart Foundation. Led by Bret Hart. It's going to be the British Bulldog, and then the tag team of Jin Yambo Neidhart and Owen Hart as well. So he's going to have a lot of use in this universe mode. I think he's going to be heavily involved in the Intercontinental Championship picture. But I'm also going to have Bulldog fighting in the Attitude Era roster as well, because he was there in the late 90s. So I'm just going to stretch it just to have him in there. I think he'll be a great member of the European Championship sort of roster, as well as probably the Intercontinental Championship, and at a stretch maybe we can involve him in either the WWE Championship or the World Heavyweight Championship picture as well. But it's another one of those guys that can fit into two rosters, so again it just helps us vary the sort of matches and rivalries on those rosters by having as many people there as possible. Bulldog here just attacking the Honky Tonk Man. It's been the same with Bret Hart as well. I've got Bret Hart down to work the Retro roster. I've also got him in for the Attitude Era roster as well. I know he wasn't part of WWE back in the Attitude Era, but he was part of WCW, more or less the whole way up to WCW shutting down. So that's why I've got him in there. He's going to be more heavily involved in the World Heavyweight Championship side of things, because that was essentially the WCW belt, I believe. So he's going to be more involved in that side alongside the people like Sting, Goldberg as well. So it's going to be a very, very heavy roster is the Attitude Era. It's going to be very, very strong. It's probably the biggest roster I've got set out at the moment, because I'm going to have a Cruiserweight Championship and Hardcore Championship in there as well. It means we do have some people like RVD, we've got Sabu, we've got Tommy Dreamer, we've got the Sandman in there as well. And then we've got the likes of Tajiri and Paul London, Brian Kendrick, Rey Mysterio, all going for the Cruiserweight Championship as well. So it's going to be a big roster of the Attitude Era, and that's probably the one I'm going to start on straight after I finish Retro. I've just got this Intercontinental Championship and then the Tag Team Championship to do as well in the Retro roster, and then we'll straight on probably to the Attitude Era, and then it just leaves us with Ring of Honor and Global Force left to do at the end, which I'm trying to leave till the end because I want to make sure I've got all the best creator wrestlers and arenas and everything sorted before we get into that one. Great vertical suplex there by the British Bulldog on the Honky Tonk Man. And I forgot to mention, on these tournaments, what I like to do normally is if you drop down to the comment section below and just pick your guess for who you think is going to win this competition. My heart's saying one name, but my head's saying another. I want British Bulldog to win this competition. I'm throwing it out there now. I want him to win this competition. However, I think my head is saying that it's going to be Randy Savage. But again, drop down to the comment section below now. Before we know any of the results, drop down there now and just put your guess in who you think is going to win. So far, I'm doing terribly. I think I've got one right so far. So yeah, it doesn't matter with stats at the moment, I don't think, because it seems to be stats don't seem to be the biggest problem on this game. If you haven't got very high stats, it doesn't seem to be a massive issue because people are still winning competitions. I think on a few that we've done so far, that the person who's won is probably at least the 5th or 6th highest rated person. So it's not. It's going to be interesting. I think once it gets into the actual universe mode, it's going to be even more strange like that, because when people start to build up momentum and they get the status effects that are in this game as well, it's going to mean that we're going to get some more crazy sort of results, I think. And with the Honky Tonk Man this year, not only is he going to be a singles competitor, but we have downloaded a Greg the Hammer Valentine course. So we're going to see the Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine as part of the Rhythm and Blues tag team. So that's going to give Honky Tonk Man a little bit more relevance on the roster as well. So that's going to be pretty good. Honky Tonk with that big dive-in fist drop. In for the pin on Bulldog. 1, 2. It's only a 2 count. I was about to say there, but proof that stats don't mean anything on this game. As Honky Tonk Man is probably the lowest rated in the entire competition. And he was going to knock off the British Bulldog there. Honky Tonk now taking Bulldog up. And there's a vertical suplex of his own. Now I will be just fiddling with the attributes of quite a few guys before we really get into the universe mode, just to try and level them out to where I think they should be. I think Bulldog could probably do with a little bit of a boost. I think at the moment the game's got him down at like an 84 or something like that, which I think he should be about an 88. As Honky Tonk Man taking the top off the announce table. Not seen anybody use the announce table as of yet as a weapon. I do know it is an OMG moment this year, so it's going to be a lot less. It's going to be a lot less common as it was on 2K15. 2K15 we got like one per show for some bizarre reason. So now it's going to be special if it does happen, which is great to see. And I also like this year where you take the top of the announce table, instead of disappearing, it just stays there on the ground, which is pretty good. As that's the same with the ring steps as well. Last year, if you threw something into the ring steps, then half the ring steps just disappeared. And it just makes it a lot less realistic. So it's good to see that everything stays out there. And it just makes it feel and look a lot more realistic. As Honky Tonk now, there's the scoop slam on Bulldog. And Honky Tonk is stalking Bulldog here. And surely there's no way Honky Tonk Man can defeat the British Bulldog. There's that spinning neck breaker. And this could be it, you know. 1, 2. No, the British Bulldog kicks out on the verge of free. Honky Tonk can't believe it. He thought he was going through to the semi-finals then. Bulldog back up to his feet, but Honky Tonk is there straight away, just slamming him head first back into the mat. Both guys trading boot to the stomach, but it's Honky Tonk who gets control again. Oh, tries to bring Bulldog back to his feet, but Bulldog with a big right hand straight to the stomach. Bulldog takes Honky Tonk up. There's that big vertical suplex. Bulldog with a pin now. 1, 2. And again, close to a 3 count. I think both these guys are starting to struggle a bit now. Bulldog in control of Honky Tonk once again, throws him into that corner. Tries to follow up, but Honky Tonk catches him with a back elbow. Rake to the eyes by Honky Tonk, and both guys drop down to a knee. You see the energy of both these guys is sort of starting to struggle. Honky Tonk with a great trip there. Now surveying the situation, he really should capitalise on the damage already done. Is he doing that? You see him stalking Bulldog, and we've seen this already once. Looks like he's going to go for this twisting neck break when he hits it. In for the pin. 1, 2, and 3. I cannot believe it. The Honky Tonk Man has just eliminated the British Bulldog from this competition. The Honky Tonk Man is going through to the second round of this competition. I'm stunned. I had Bulldog down to win this match at least and get through to face the winner of the Ultimate Warrior versus Jake Roberts. But Honky Tonk Man had much different ideas in this one. As we see some of the highlights, there's that big scoop slam, almost throwing Bulldog across the ring. And then he followed it up with this great diving fist drop. You see there. But that was only enough for a 2 as well. Here's the first of these twisted neck breaker. You see him just penduluming it up. But that, of course, was only enough for a 2 count, the first one. I still can't believe that Bulldog's been knocked out of this. It surprised me, that has. And here it is, the second of these twisted neck breakers. And the Honky Tonk Man is going on to face the winner of the Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake Roberts later on this evening in the semi-finals. I'm stunned here, I really am. The Honky Tonk Man has managed to pull this off. I really just expected him to be in here just to make up the numbers. But he is proving me wrong straight away. And Honky Tonk Man, who is a former Intercontinental champion in real life, could be getting that belt in our universe mode. And here is the second of our first round matches here this evening. It's the Ultimate Warrior versus Jake the Snake Roberts. And of course the winner in this one will go on to face the Honky Tonk Man in the semi-finals. And here we go. Now, of course, damage retention is on in this competition, as is all of my competitions. So both of these guys will be hoping to get through as relatively unscathed as possible. They know that if they take a lot of damage, it's going to make them a bit easier to pick off later on in this competition. I think Honky Tonk didn't do too bad against the Bulldog. I think he got through virtually unscathed. He took a few big high impact moves, but yeah, I think he's done quite well, Honky Tonk. However, I think it's going to become very difficult for him now because all the guys left in this competition are very, very strong. Especially these two here. Both could be great Intercontinental champions, but you've also got the likes of Rick Rude, Randy Savage, Owen Hart, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat as well. So it is a heavy, heavy, heavy tournament here. So many fantastic names that could easily hold that Intercontinental Championship in our retro roster. We've already crowned our WWE Championship for this retro roster. Of course, you can find that as the previous video in this playlist. If you want to find that, you can nip down to the description below. There will be a link to all the playlists for all the brands in this universe mode. A couple might be dead links still because I've not uploaded any videos, but apart from that, they should all be working perfectly. So at the moment, I think I've done all of the WWE Championship tournaments. That's 7 altogether. I've done all of the NXT, that was 4. And obviously this is the second of 3 of the retro roster. Next on my to-do list is the Attitude Era as well, which hopefully, I'm not going to promise anything, but hopefully I want to try and get Attitude done by latest Thursday and get Global Force and Ring of Honor done by the end of the weekend. I want to try and get them done before then, but I'm just cautious because I know Fallout 4 comes out tomorrow and I'm going to be uploading some stuff of that as well. Really looking forward to Fallout 4. It's one of my favourite games, so yeah, we're going to be heavily going for that one. I wonder, one second. I just wanted to try something while I'm here, and this might end up failing miserably, but I'll give it a go. Nope, I'm in the wrong hole. Oop. That sounds dodgy, doesn't it? Oh. I apologise for that, that's my alarm, so I need to get up this morning. As you can tell, I'm already up, I'm recording already as well. I'll try that later. Jake now with a pin. 1, 2, it's only a 2 count. Remember, the winner of this one must be pretty happy because they know they're going on to face off against probably the weakest man in the competition. The Honky Tonk Man, stats-wise, is the weakest. But like I've said already, we've seen with the stats on this game, it doesn't necessarily mean the lowest rated guy will lose the match. If it did, it would mean obviously all of our tournaments would be null and void because we'll know who's going to win every single one. I think the 2 highest rated guys in this competition are the Ultimate Warrior, who just gets knocked out by Jake's massive DDT. Is that going to be enough for Jake to get the win? 2. No, Warrior kicks out. Yeah, I was saying the 2 strongest guys in this competition are the Ultimate Warrior and the Macho Man Randy Savage. But Jake Roberts is dominating Warrior here after a big DDT on the verge of getting a 3 count. Now he rolls Warrior over. Big boot to the stomach. And can he follow up that high impact DDT? Just going for grounded strikes at the moment. Just trying to do as much damage to Warrior as possible. Warrior now signaling for something himself. We've seen him use this before in the WWE Championship tournament. The big clothesline. Now the gorilla press. Followed up by the splash to the back. Brings Jake back up to his feet. I thought he might have gone for the pin there. Decides against it, but takes Jake up high. Gorilla press again. Now surely that's going to be enough for Warrior to knock Jake off here. 1, 2. No, Jake kicks out. You see, Warrior cannot believe it. He thought he had this match won there. But Jake is still in this one, but for how long could both these guys last now? Because they've both been hit by some pretty high impact moves. And that's definitely going to help out the Honky Tonk Man in the next round. He knows that the longer this match goes, the easier it's going to be for him. See a headlock here by Jake the Snake Roberts, just slowing the pace of the match down. Which is a clever idea because we know that Warrior is the much more high-paced, he likes the momentum. So to keep him slow and on the ground is probably the best thing for Jake to do, but you see Warrior just returning the favour. Jake back up to his feet there with those 2 elbows. Great overhand punch there by Warrior. Looked to try and follow it up, but Jake caught him with that punch to the back of the head. Now Jake just dropping the leg across the elbow of the Ultimate Warrior. Big stomp to the ground in Warrior as well, and Jake taking control of this match now. And here he is again with that DDT. Jake Roberts hits the DDT on the Ultimate Warrior, and this could be all now. In for the pin. 1, 2. No, Warrior kicks out again. Jake could not believe it. He thought he'd eliminated the Ultimate Warrior here. And I'm sure everybody in the competition would be very happy if the Warrior was eliminated, being one of the strongest left here. Warrior sending Jake face first into the mat now, launching him up into the air and dropping him face first onto the ground. Warrior taking Jake up, and there's another big gorilla press. In for the pin. 1, 2, and 3. That is all. Jake Roberts put up a hell of a fight, but he finally manages to finish. Sorry, the Warrior finally manages to finish him off. And the Warrior is going on to face up against the Honky Tonk Man in our first semi-final later on this evening. That was one of the DDTs. Of course, Jake actually hit 2 during this match on the Ultimate Warrior. How Warrior managed to fight through that, I've got no idea. But I'm sure Honky Tonk Man later on will try and continue the damage done here by Jake Roberts on the Ultimate Warrior. Warrior, like I said, is probably one of the strongest guys in the competition alongside the Macho Man Randy Savage. But with the amount of damage he's taken, that could seriously weaken his chances of going all the way here this evening. Jake, unfortunately, has been eliminated from this competition, but he is going to have a big, big part to play in our Universe mode this year. He's going to be great in feuds. I think he's going to be great in the Intercontinental Championship picture as well. There's really a lot we can do with Jake Roberts. He is one of my favourite. He's one of the first wrestlers I ever saw live as well. You see Warrior dropping Jake flat on his face, bringing him back up to his feet, and then again a second one straight after. And that was enough to finally finish Jake Roberts off here. 1, 2, and 3. So well done to Warrior. He's going through to our semi-final to face up against the Honky Tonk Man. What condition Warrior is in, we will find out later on this evening. And of course, we still have 2 more first round matches coming up for you now. 4 big, big names as well. All very, very capable Intercontinental champions. And we'll see who will be joining Honky Tonk Man and the Ultimate Warrior in the semi-finals. And the third of our first round matches, it's going to be Rick Rude taking on the Macho Man, Randy Savage. And here we go. Great to see both these men again in this Intercontinental Championship tournament. Both last year were downloadable content, so to get them at the beginning of the game is absolutely fantastic. You see Macho Man getting the cheap shot there from the break. And again, they both look a lot better than they did on the PlayStation 3 version of 2K15 as well. Macho Man's going to have a much bigger role, I think, in our Universe mode this year. Not only in the Intercontinental Championship picture, which is where I've got him at the moment, but I think also in the WWE Championship title picture as well. As you see, Rick Rude returning the favour there. Not allowing the clean break. And the chain wrestling between these two starting off fantastically well. Of course, I have got Macho Man Randy Savage down as my pick to win this competition. It was head over heart. My head thought it would be Macho Man Randy Savage, but my heart wanted to be Bulldog. Of course, Bulldog was not correct. We saw him get eliminated by the Honky Tonk Man in the very first round. Still can't believe that one. But my head said Macho Man Randy Savage. And there is a great chance is that what could happen here. But he's still got to get through Rick Rude, and of course the winner of our last first round match, Owen Hart and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That's going to be an incredible match, that one. And then of course he has to get through the winner of Honky Tonk Man and the Ultimate Warrior as well. Which that's going to be an interesting match now, because Warrior obviously is a much stronger competitor. But I think he took a lot more damage in that first match than Honky Tonk Man did. So Honky Tonk has a great chance of actually defeating Warrior here this evening. The best chance he's ever going to have, I think. Warrior was hit by 2 of Jake the Snake Roberts' big DDTs. German suplex there by Rick Rude. And there's one thing that on this game that I keep noticing, but I'm not sure if it is right what I'm thinking, is you can probably see there on Rick Rude's chest, it's got a bit red, and I'm wondering whether if you hit, say, chops or punches to the stomach, it lights your chest up a bit. As you can see, when Rick sort of turns more towards the camera, you can see there, you can see he's got like a red mark across each of his pecs, and I don't know whether that is part of the game or whether that's just a bit of a dodgy graphics or what, but I've noticed it in quite a few matches now. Now, of course, I am waiting for the downloadable content to come out as well. I'm hoping that's going to come out. I'm hoping one of them is going to come out by the end of this month. They normally do. I think it's normally 1 November, 1 December, 1 January, I think. And it'd be interesting to see which one it is, because each one is going to obviously heavily help out one of our rosters. I've got a feeling the first one's going to be the Legends one, and if it is, that's going to be the likes of who is it? It's Lita and Trish Stratus, which is be great because we need those two to really build our WWE Attitude Era's Women's Championship. Who else is there in that one? I think that one's also the one with Mr. Perfect and Rowdy Roddy Piper in as well. So all of the downloadable content's really going to heavily involve all of our Universe Road rosters. Of course, the Hall of Fame one is really going to help out the retro roster. That's going to give us a lot of brand new people that we can use. The likes of Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson, I'm thinking of teaming up with Ric Flair and just calling them the Horsemen. I'm not going to have the whole 4 in there, so just call them the Horsemen, just have them together. I think it'll be great. As Rick Rude there, his big neck breaker. And could we have another surprise victory here? 1, 2, 3, and we have the Macho Man Randy Savage eliminated in round 1 to ravishing Rick Rude. And again, for so many times over and over again, my pick for this competition has been eliminated in the very first round. I can't believe it. My heart and my head predictions both eliminated in the first round to weaker opponents. And there's that big neck breaker. Nothing against Rick Rude and Honky Tonk Man, but just on paper they're much weaker than the guys that were matched up with in this competition. But obviously Rick Rude and the Honky Tonk Man just wanted it a little bit more here this evening. And Rick Rude is going to go on to face off against the winner of our final first round match, which is coming up next. That's Owen Hart versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And can Rick Rude go all the way here this evening? He'll certainly be hoping so. And here is the last of our first round matches. It's going to be Owen Hart, going to be part of the Hart Foundation this year on the Universe mode. He's going to be taking on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And here we go. It's great to finally have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat back on the game. It's one less creator wrestler we have to download, and of course, he just looks fantastic as well. I want to see his entrance at some point just to see whether he does have the sort of the wings attire on that we saw in the matchup screen. And also, we've got Owen Hart back as a creator wrestler. As you can see, he looks a hell of a lot better than he did last year. He's going to be very important this year. He's going to be teaming up with Jim the Anvil Neidhart as part of the Hart Foundation. And of course, he will be heavily involved in our Intercontinental Championship title picture as well. So it's going to be great for both these guys. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, I've got some great feuds in mind for him. Of course, he was part in some of the biggest, most legendary feuds in history, such as his big one against Ric Flair, which is always regarded as some of the best matches ever in wrestling. There was also the big match at WrestleMania 3 between Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and the Macho Man Randy Savage. That was always rumoured to have created quite a bit of annoyance in the WWE, mainly because obviously that was WrestleMania 3. The big part of WrestleMania 3 was also always supposed to be Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant, but for years and years and years afterwards, people are still talking about the fantastic match that stole the show between Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and the Macho Man Randy Savage. That's definitely something we'll look at doing. Maybe that can be our WrestleMania match. I really like the idea of doing that, but that's going to obviously depend on who wins the Royal Rumble as well, and if any of these two guys are the champion, I suppose. And yes, I do intend on getting all the way to WrestleMania this year. I'll probably go past WrestleMania. I'm not going to finish it at WrestleMania. We'll go past WrestleMania, and then we'll see where we can go from there. Obviously, that's a long way in the distance. I know that doesn't sound like a lot to some people doing the Universe mode, but of course we are doing 6 brands, so to get all the way to WrestleMania is at least going to be 365 videos for me, but we know that'll be a lot more because we're doing certain things for certain extra shows as well as extra pay-per-views or longer pay-per-views for certain brands as well. When I say extra shows, I'm thinking of things like in the WWE, we might do a Madison Square Garden live show, we might do a Japanese tour, we might do a Mexican tour, an English tour, and that'll just be like a random extra couple of videos uploaded here and there. There'll be no announcement for it, it'll just be there one day. Also, things we'll do like the King of the Ring will be a random upload. We'll have the Elimination Chamber as well, like they did this year, uploaded at a random point in time. So that's just going to make it a bit more, get a few more videos out there for you. Just depend on if I'm ahead of time with the videos. I can get an extra 1 or 2 knocked up. I know it's going to be a bit more difficult this year because the shows are taking a lot longer to record. I'm not sure how difficult it's going to be for me to do on a long-term basis when I'm working and having to come back and do a video. Obviously, it wasn't too bad with 2K15 because the videos only lasted about half an hour. So I could come back, I could record it, and then I could have my dinner and that while I was editing the video. But now it's taking over an hour to do each show. We'll have to see what sort of time it takes to do an actual weekly show in the Universe mode, because obviously these tournaments are probably a little bit quicker because the semi-finals and finals with the damage retention on, it's definitely speeding the whole thing up. So I'll have to see what it's like when we do a normal full show. Obviously I'll fiddle around with the momentum here and there just to speed certain matches up. When we get to a pay-per-view, of course I won't be. I'll be doing the pay-per-view on the correct momentum, and I'll be doing all the entrances and cutscenes and everything like that on pay-per-views just to make sure that the show comes across as a bit more special. Now, of course, our first pay-per-view, as I've already said, is going to be for the Ring of Honor roster. That's going to be our Mystery Vortex pay-per-view, as there's the big power driver there by Owen Hart, but it was not enough to finish off the Macho Man, who's not even in this match. It wasn't enough to finish off Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, Mystery Vortex is going to be our first Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and if you don't know what that is, basically it's a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla format, and essentially we're not going to know any of the matches beforehand. So basically what I'll do is I'm going to put all of the match types and And I'll put all the tag teams and all of the individual wrestlers all into separate hats. And then when it comes to the night, we'll just draw randomly out the hat. We'll say so-and-so, the Ring of Honor Heavyweight Championship is going to be defended in. I'll pull it out the hat. It could be a triple threat, it could be a fatal four-way, it could be a Hell in a Cell match. It could be anything. And once we know the match type, I'll pull out this certain amount of individual wrestlers as well to be competing in the match. I won't announce it. All that we'll do is we'll see the entrances. And once we see the entrances, we'll know exactly who is in that match. So that's just a little bit of fun. I think it's an easier one because it being the first pay-per-view on week number 1. We've got no time really to build up to it. So by having it like the Mystery Vortex style, we don't really need a build-up because it's just going to be random what happens on the night. Great hip toss there by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Now going up to the top rope. What does he have planned here? We know he likes to go for that big crossbody, and it looks like that might be what he's setting up for. There it is, the big crossbody into the pin. 1, 2. No, Owen Hart kicks out on the brink of a 3 count. Owen Hart kicks out. How has he done that? Ricky Steamboat again making his way up to the top rope. But Owen Hart caught him. And there's a big kick taking Ricky down. Owen Hart using that top rope, draping Ricky Steamboat over that top rope and then using it as elevation for that DDT. Now Owen going up to the top himself. Big elbow drop. And I think both these guys are really going to struggle now. They've both been hit by their opponent's finisher and some very, very big, impactful moves. We know the winner of this one will have to go on to face it off against Rick Rude in our second semi-final. As there's Owen Hart again taking Ricky Steamboat up, and there's a second power driver. And surely there's no way Ricky's getting up from a second one. In for the pin. 1, 2. No way! Ricky Steamboat kicks out of a second power driver here. I cannot believe that at all. Uppercut by Owen Hart, now throwing Steamboat into that corner. Owen now taking Steamboat up onto that top turnbuckle once again. What does he have planned this time? Again, just draped across that top rope into the DDT. Owen Hart probably taking a few extra seconds than he should do. Oh, looks to grab the legs of Ricky Steamboat. Maybe going for a sharp shooter or something like that. Harnessing the powers of his brother. Ricky Steamboat fighting back with that punch in the stomach on Owen Hart. Steamboat trying to catch Owen, but Owen was there with that hip toss. Steamboat now taking Owen up. Great power slam. Bringing Owen again back up to his feet and locking in a sleeper hold. We haven't seen many submission victories in these tournaments so far. The computer seems to struggle with submissions. As again, this is not a case where we're going to get a submission victory. Owen Hart fighting out. Has Ricky Steamboat in that front headlock, and there's that big uppercut. Takes him up. I thought he was going to go for another power driver there, but Steamboat just slips out the back. Takes Owen Hart over the top. Ricky bringing Owen back up to his feet, but there's the jawbreaker by Owen Hart. Clever little move. And there he is, takes him up. There's the third power driver, and there's no way Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is kicking out of that, surely. Again, Owen Hart probably taking a few extra seconds to pin. 1, 2. Oh my God. There is no way in actual hell as Ricky the Dragon Steamboat just kicked out the third power driver. This has been absolutely insane, this match. There's a fisherman suplex. I can only imagine just the extra couple of seconds it took for Owen Hart to go for the pin was just enough to give Ricky Steamboat enough time, as Owen Hart now catches Steamboat and rolls him over into the sharpshooter. Owen Hart breaks the hold, obviously taking a lot out of him as well, going in for the pin. 1, 2, and again Ricky Steamboat kicks out. How the hell is Steamboat doing this? Steamboat now trying to slow the pace of the match down. Did a good job of it as well, trying to just recoup a little bit of energy. But of course, no matter who wins this match now, I think they're going to struggle, because the amount of damage they've both taken, it's going to make it very, very difficult for them to be able to get through Rick Rude, who got through the last match pretty much unscathed. See Owen Hart now just wrenching back at the arm of Ricky Steamboat. Steamboat fighting free though, gets back up to his feet, and there's a big punch to the stomach. Front headlock, and now sending Owen Hart into that corner. Drop kick to the back there by Ricky Steamboat. Again bringing Owen back up to his feet. And again he locks in that sleeper hold. But again it's not enough to finish Owen Hart off. Steamboat throwing Hart into the corner. And we always seem to get one of these big epic matches in every single tournament at the moment. Whoever wins this match is really going to deserve it. Oh, Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat reverses the pile driver into a tombstone of his own. In for the pin. 1, 2, and 3. Oh my God, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat kicks out of 3 or 4. I can't remember now, there was that many of them. 3 or 4 pile drivers. And he still managed to go on and win this match. Here's one of the pile drivers here by Owen Hart. High impact that was. But Ricky Steamboat just had enough to kick out of every single one. A diving fist drop by Ricky Steamboat. As you see, just some of the more highlights of the match. And for me, I'm surprised. I thought Owen Hart had this on several occasions. He absolutely destroyed Ricky Steamboat. Is this going to be Ricky's big crossbody? I think it might be. This was earlier on in the match. I thought this could have been all as well. Straight into the pin, but that was only enough for a 2. Close to a 3 count though. And there you see it. Owen had Ricky up in a tombstone. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat reversed it into a tombstone of his own. And that was enough to finish Owen Hart off. Into the pin here you see. 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat facing off against Rick Rude later on this evening in the second of our semi-finals. But how much damage has Ricky taken into that match? Of course, before we get into our semi-finals, I will give you a quick glimpse at the brackets once again, just to confirm all the results so far in the first 4 matches here this evening. But we now know our very first Intercontinental champion is going to be between 4 guys. And as promised, here is a quick look at the brackets before we get into the semi-finals. We've seen the Honky Tonk Man taking on the Ultimate Warrior in our first semi-final, and Rick Rude versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in our second semi-final. And as I just said, our first semi-final is the Honky Tonk Man taking on the Ultimate Warrior. And here we go. Honky Tonk managed to defeat the British Bulldog in the very first round. And the Ultimate Warrior, of course, defeated Jake the Snake Roberts. I think Honky Tonk had an easier match, but It looks like Warrior's starting this one, looking for a very easy match himself. Dropping Honky Tonk. Now into that splash to the back. Good Warrior picked up a victory very quickly here. Just trying to dislocate the knee of Honky Tonk Man there. I'm thinking maybe Warrior should have gone for the pin already. He's done a lot of damage, and there's a big boot to the back as well. Warrior brings Honky Tonk back up to his feet, but Honky Tonk reverses with that shoulder block. Now rolling the Warrior over and just stamping on the inside of that knee. Elbow drop to the back by Honky Tonk and Warrior as well. Bringing Warrior back up to his feet, and now Honky Tonk gets reversed there into the Russian leg sweep. Warrior bringing Honky Tonk back up to his feet again, up onto the shoulders. Gorilla press, dropping him flat on his face. Rolls him over into the pin. 1, 2, and 3. That is all. Ultimate Warrior makes very, very short work of the Honky Tonk Man. And he is going on to our final here this evening to fight it out for that Intercontinental Championship. And you saw from the very, very beginning of this match, Honky Tonk just dominating, or Honky Tonk just being dominated, shall I say, by the Ultimate Warrior. I'm not surprised. There's a big, big difference in stats. Is Warrior probably the strongest guy left in this competition now. Only has one more man to get through to be crowned our first Intercontinental Champion here for our retro roster in the 2K16 universe mode. And will he be able to do it? I think with a quick victory like this, he's going to take a lot more energy into the final than he probably could have hoped for. I'm sure he'll be hoping that Rick Rude versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat will be a long match. Although with the amount of damage that Ricky Steamboat took in the last match, I think he might struggle in our second semi-final. And here is the second semi-final. It's ravishing Rick Rude versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for a place in the final here this evening to fight out against the Ultimate Warrior for the Intercontinental Championship in our WWE 2K16 Universe Mode Retro roster. As the referee rings the bell and this one starts. And straight away Rick Rude takes Ricky Steamboat up and drops him in a backbreaker. Now of course I think Ricky Steamboat's going to struggle here this evening. He has been hit already by 3 or 4 big power drivers from Owen Hart. So you'd think that it'd be easy pickings really for Rick Rude, who's already defeated the Macho Man Randy Savage here this evening. So Rick Rude is already on a bit of a high momentum really. And he'll be thinking there's no reason why he can't defeat Ricky the Dragon Steamboat here as well. A couple of big elbows there to the stomach by Rick Rude, and if he can take Ricky the Steamboat out here pretty early on, then he might have a good chance against the Ultimate Warrior here this evening. But of course, the longer this match goes on, I think Warrior is going to be rubbing his hands together. He knows he managed to get through his semi-final very easily, and he'll be hoping that this match is not the same. Obviously, the longer this match goes on, the better it is for Warrior. Steamboat throwing Rick Rude straight into that corner. Now Steamboat up onto that middle rope. Diving fist drops right to the face of Rick Rude. Steamboat goes up high again. And there's a diving elbow drop to Rick Rude as well. Steamboat brings Rude back up to his feet, but Rude was playing possum and trips him. Rude brings Steamboat back up to his feet now and throws him into the corner. What does he have planned here? Oh, but Steamboat catches him that boot to the face. Sending Rude off the far ropes and now into the hip toss as well. You see Ricky the Dragon Steamboat there drop into a knee. Really expended a lot of energy so far here this evening. He's taken a lot of damage as well. The longer this match goes, the worse it's going to be for Ricky Steamboat. I think Rick Rude will know that if he can just hold on then I think Ricky Steamboat's going to just a flag eventually. But not soon enough for Rick Rude as Steamboat floats over the top and catches him with that neck breaker. Bringing Rude back up to his feet, but Rude with that big right hand. Now Rude with that DDT. And could that be all? Steamboat looks down and out here. Rude with a pin. 1, 2, and that is all. Rick Rude defeats Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and he is going on to face off against the Ultimate Warrior in our final here this evening for the WWE Intercontinental Championship in our WWE 2K16 Retro Roster brand. And this really could have gone either way. I said from the beginning I thought Rude might have it just because of the amount of damage that had been taken by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at the hands of Owen Hart. Evidently I was correct on that one, as Rick Rude finally managed to, there it is, just catch Ricky Steamboat in that big DDT. He took a few too many seconds for me to go for the pin, but it didn't affect him too much as he still managed to get the 3 count. Great win here for Rick Rude. Continuing his great form here this evening. He's now knocked out Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in the same evening. I wouldn't have put my money on it, but after seeing him win those 2 matches, could he also defeat the Ultimate Warrior and become the Intercontinental Champion? We'll find out next. And here we go. As promised, we have an Intercontinental Championship match for you now. The Ultimate Warrior versus Rick Rude. The winner will become our first Intercontinental Champion for our 2K16 Retro Roster Universe mode. And as it is a championship match, we have for you the entrances. It's going to be this way in the Universe mode. I'm not going to have any entrances in the normal weekly shows, but for championship matches and of course pay-per-views, we will show all of the entrances. Just makes it feel a bit more special. You see Warrior here has a very aggressive entrance. First time I've seen Warrior's entrance on this game. It looks a lot better than it did on 2K15, I'll tell you that now. And interesting for Warrior, he's expending a lot of energy here in his entrance, and maybe that's not the best idea, considering he has to go for a Rick Rude, who's already defeated the Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat here this evening. I'm going to say now that I still think my money's going to be on Warrior now in this one. I just think he had a much easier semi-final, and he's already the stronger competitor out of the 2. So I think Warrior's going to have this, you know, over Rick Rude. As Rude slowly makes his way to his ring. See Rude conserving his energy, unlike Warrior, who sprinted the whole way down here. Rude is just contain as much energy as he possibly can in the ring now. See Warrior slide out, giving Rude a few seconds. Rick Rude's on the microphone. I wasn't aware this was a thing. Now I can't hear what he's saying because my telly's on mute.
What I'd like to have right now.
Oh, he's talking. That's good.
Is for all you fat, ugly, inner city sweat hogs, keep the noise down while I take my robe off and show the ladies what a real sexy man looks like. Hit the music.
I didn't realise that was part of Rick Rude's entrance. That's quite good, actually. I like that. I do like that. And that is what they're fighting for here, the Intercontinental Championship. That's the retro one they used to use in the 90s, according to this game. The very, very early 90s. And who will it be holding that belt here this evening? I'm going to put my money on Warrior. I think Warrior's had an easier time this evening. Plus, he's the stronger competitor as well. You just see him lining Rick Rude up already for that big gorilla press. There he goes, up in the air. Drops him down. Big splash to the back. Is that going to be enough already? In for the pin. 1, 2. No, Rick Rude kicks out. Warrior thought he had the Intercontinental Championship won there very early on. And Rick Rude is just struggling to get into this match. Warrior now, that atomic drop. Warrior going up to the top rope, not something we've seen of him very much here. And he's got a big elbow drop in the locker. Brings Rick Rude up to a seated position. There's a big kick to the back as well. And Rude really needs to slow this match down and get himself back in control. He does with that rake to the eyes. And now Rick Rude slowing the whole thing down and lock it in. You see here the headlock to the grounded Ultimate Warrior. And as I say, my money was on the Ultimate Warrior, but after seeing some of the big names Rick Rude has defeated here this evening already, there's no reason why he could not add the Ultimate Warrior to that. Of course, Warrior did have a difficult first round match against Jake Roberts, was hit by 2 DDTs, but managed to kick out of them both. He basically just walked straight through the Honky Tonk Man, so that's really helped him out. But how much damage was done that first match, and can Rude capitalise on that and walk out of here the first Intercontinental Champion? It would be a surprising result, I'm not going to say. I'm pretty sure that no one in the comment section below would have guessed that Rick Rude. I'm assuming Ultimate Warrior, quite a few you might have guessed him. I put my money on Randy Savage, who of course was eliminated in the very first round by Rick Rude, so yeah, I'm not doing too well in these guesses at all. Big knee to the head there by Warrior, fighting out with a potential suplex on the outside, and Warrior just throwing Rick Rude straight into the ring post. And now into the actual ring itself, bringing Rude back up to his feet. Warrior slides back into the ring. And the referee is up to a 6 count now. Rude takes a few seconds just to regain some more momentum and gets back into the ring. But Warrior catches him straight away. Up into the air. And down he goes. And surely we have our first Intercontinental Champion crown now. 1, 2, and 3 it was. That pinfall was just a formality. It is done now. The Ultimate Warrior is going to be your first Intercontinental Champion, moving in to our Retro Roster Universe mode. As we see just some of the action early on. See Warrior there just dropping Rude, following it up with a big splash to the back. Rolled him straight over and perched on him with the knees. But you see Rick managed to kick out of that one. I think Warrior thought he'd won it straight off. You see Rude getting back into the ring after taking a few seconds on the outside to try and regain some composure, but obviously it was not enough, as Warrior just lifts him straight up into the Gorilla Press, drops him flat on his face straight into the pin, and there is the 3 count. So there it is, the Ultimate Warrior going absolutely mad. The referee comes across and hands him the championship belt. Ultimate Warrior, your Intercontinental Champion here on the Retro roster. He is going to be a hell of an Intercontinental Champion. We're going to have some great fun with that. Some great feuds he can be involved in as well. He's going to break this belt if he carries on like this. Just dropping the belt to the floor now. And there is confirmation there that the Ultimate Warrior defeated Jake the Snake Roberts, the Honky Tonk Man, and Rick Rude to become your first Intercontinental Champion in our 2K16 Retro roster. Well guys, I hope you've all enjoyed that. If you have, then be sure to hit that like button. And of course, hit that like button for the Ultimate Warrior being the Intercontinental Champion as well. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe because we'll be uploading more daily 2K16 footage all the way up until the release of 2K16, then we can start uploading that, I suppose. And I'll be uploading a lot of different stuff soon as well. Once I get a bit ahead of myself on this 2K16, I'll be uploading some other little games that I enjoy playing, plus Fallout 4 coming tomorrow. I'll be uploading some of that on release day as well. I've been Shabby Gamer, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.